I'm Wolf Blitzer. This is CNN.
Right now, New York is getting ready for nearly 2 million people to flood Times Square for New Year's Eve. Police officers at every corner, sand-filled trucks. The NYPD is pulling out all the stops to keep the city safe and keep everyone safe who's there for the celebration after 2 truck attacks in Germany and France this year on crowds of people. New York City Police Commissioner said there is no credible threat against the festivities, but the NYPD is going to make sure that Times Square is, in his words, one of the safest venues in the entire world. Let me bring in right now Jeff Beatty. He's a former CIA counterterrorism officer and FBI special agent. Jeff, thank you so much for the time. I mean, we know that they're stepping up security measures. They've been very candid about that. What are the lessons learned from these terror attacks in the past year that they're applying to this holiday?
Well, hello, good to be with you. I think there's a couple of important lessons learned, but first, that word credible that you used about what the commissioner said. You know, credible has a couple of components to it. It has a capability and it has some specificity. In other words, is someone capable of pressing home an attack like happened in Nice or like happened in Berlin? Yeah, that's possible any day. So that's credible any day. But the specific, knowing the time and the place, we have no intelligence information that knows the time and the place. So we used to say specific and credible. It's always credible at this point because it's happened so many times, but it's just not specific. So we don't want to lull anyone into thinking that, oh, well, we have no credible threats. They're credible, but they're just not specific at the moment. Quickly to your point on lessons learned. You know, it's important that we understand that terrorist operations proceed on a trajectory. You have to understand what happened in the past, process the lessons learned, because the adversary is doing that. And then you have to connect the dots from past operations and put them out in the future and say, okay, where will these terrorists go? They've done this in Nice. They've done this in Berlin using trucks as weapons. Are they going to try it again? Because we as security forces have learned lessons. NYPD is putting out over 150 large trucks to block vehicular access in there so no one could careen into the crowd of 2 million people. But understanding the trajectory, we understood this 15 years ago when we advised the Rose Parade, which has over 1 million people there, about blocking off side streets to protect against this exact same type of attack. So the challenge is not just be ready for what happened in Berlin, but for NYPD and others to understand the trajectory. What little twist will the adversary put onto their operation that might, in fact, negate the benefit that we accrue by having those physical barriers, those sand trucks and other things in place?
And Jeff, the fact that the president-elect's home is just blocks from the center of it all, from Times Square, does that change the security posture, the security planning, how it's all handled in terms of the New Year celebration?
Well, yes, it does. There's a downside to it, and there's also a plus side to it. The plus side is that the Secret Service is there in force. The Counterterrorism Task Force, the FBI-led Counterterrorism Task Force, I mean, these are the best people we have in the country that are present in New York to do this work. The NYPD, there's nobody better at doing this than NYPD. And so think about this, Kate. They're already deployed quite near the site. So they'll be able to pick up maybe some additional operational activity that otherwise, without that security in place now to protect the president-elect, might go undetected prior to a New Year's Eve type of event. So there's a plus side. The downside is you have to continue to protect Trump Tower, and that will draw resources away from protecting the Times Square venue.
Mm-hmm. If you're heading out for one of these celebrations, is there anything different that you need to do this year in light of terror attacks over the past year than you would do any year in staying safe?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the public has a big role in public safety. And first of all, help the process, don't hinder the process. Don't show up with backpacks or things that could conceal weapons. Don't make jokes or comments about, possible terrorist attacks. There'll be uniformed officers there. There'll also be a lot of people that aren't in uniform that are working security. There'll be a lot of cameras on it. Be ready to follow the guidance of see something, say something. Don't be in denial. If you see something that just doesn't look right, say something to someone. Because with the work that the NYPD is doing to protect this vehicular type of attack, you know, you still can't overlook the fact that in the past we've had people with body-worn bombs or someone carrying in something under a heavy coat and they're going to need to dress warm, and then leaving that on the ground and walking a few paces away from it before it detonates. So be ready to be helpful and enjoy yourself.
Exactly right. Jeff Beatty, thank you very much. I really appreciate the tips and the insight. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone.